Hey, P Thorns, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here to listen to more of my stories. You guys know, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button so that you know when the next story comes out. Thank you guys for listening, and on to our story. Have you ever wondered what happens to kids that get lost in the woods and why, when they get lost, they just vanish? Nothing is ever found. They're just gone in thin air. I have a few theories. The first theory I have, and that I'm going to explain, is that they become whispers. Have you ever been walking alone on a forest trail, and then all of a sudden, everything gets quiet, but at the same time, you can hear whispers off the trail in the distance, just there. And you chalk it up to your imagination. Of course, it's my imagination because I'm walking alone in the woods, and you just try to put it to the back of your head as you walk. But here's what happened to me. I was walking on this well-known nature trail, and I was genuinely having a good time. Aside from the fact that I was absolutely alone, I had been walking on the trail about 5 minutes, and I hadn't seen anyone. I mean, no one, which is unusual because this trail is normally full of joggers and bike riders and people walking their dogs, and it's just a very scenic and beautiful trail. So I'm walking the trail and I'm looking at all the sights, and everything is as usual, vibrant and beautiful and forest life going on. But then a feeling of grimness, coldness crawled over me. It was almost as if it was a sunset in the woods. But to be truthful, it was 12 o'clock in the afternoon, so the sun was right overhead. But for some reason, the scenery just suddenly shifted to dimly lit and creepy. So, as I'm walking this trail, off in the distance, I see a child, little boy, blonde hair, blue shirt, you know, blue jeans, just alone. I'm thinking, okay, maybe his parent is off the trail, nature calls sometimes when you're out here and he's just waiting on them. So I'm walking and walking, but I never seem to get any closer to this little boy. So I'm still walking, and then I hear a branch snap, so I look away. When I look back, the little boy is gone. There's no sign of him, there's no noises, there's no nothing. There's just emptiness, a void. So I chalk it up again to my imagination. Because this trail normally only takes me like 15 minutes to fully go around. And this day I was kind of dragging my feet, muddling over, some work stuff and some emotional stuff that I was going on with. And as I walked to where this boy seemingly was, I started to hear whispers. And I'm like, what is that? They're not understandable whispers. They're just so soft that you couldn't make them out. You couldn't make out what they were saying. Now, I'm like, everything in me is getting that fight or flight response. So I start to walk faster because something in me tells me I need to get out of these woods. So I'm walking and walking, and for some reason, it seems like it's been over 15 minutes, and this trail just keeps going and going and going. And it's odd because I've walked this trail hundreds of times, and at this point, I would have been finished already. And as I'm walking, these whispers just get louder and louder and louder, but still not audible enough for you to understand what they were saying. I kept hearing twigs snap and sounding like things were off the trail to the left and to the right. And at this point, I felt like maybe I was being stalked by an animal or something. I always keep my bear spray with me just in case. And I always keep my head on a swivel so that I don't get caught off guard by any, mountain lions or anything. So I'm hearing these twigs snap, but I'm not seeing anything causing them to snap. So as I start to pick up the pace even more, because now I'm jogging, because at this point I'm in full on panic mode. I'm jogging and then I heard a twig snap and I looked that direction, and when I looked back to the trail right in front of me is this little boy. How he got there, I have no idea. But his face is just white, pale, deathly grim looking. And I muster up the courage to say, "Are you okay?" He opens his mouth as big as it can go. Looking into it looked like a black void. He had no teeth, there was no tongue, there was just darkness. And when he opened his mouth, the only thing that came out were whispers. All of those whispers that I had heard before, just whisper, whisper, whisper. All of those. I jumped, blinked my eyes, and he was gone. At this point, I'm standing completely still, and right next to my ear, all I hear is, "My name is Jacob." And just like that, everything stopped. Everything brightened up. Crickets started, birds started, and all the animals scurrying throughout the woods. And it freaked me out. And at this point, I noticed I'm literally at the end of the trail. I nope out of there and get into my car, where I break down and completely just cry myself to a puddle for 30 minutes. So on my way out, I stopped by the visitor center, to explain to the staff what had just happened. And there's a flyer of this little boy, same outfit, same blonde hair, that supposedly just vanished 5 years before. And as I'm telling, the park rangers, "Listen, this is what I saw, this is who I saw," the park rangers was like, "Yeah, that's Jacob. Sometimes he likes to play," which again had my head completely falling apart because I was confused on what they meant. And they went over the story of Jacob. He was walking with his mom. Everything was fine. Jacob was running a little bit ahead. She called for him. He would stop. He would run a little bit ahead and more. And she heard a twig snap and she looked away. And when she looked back, Jacob was gone. In the thin air. He was nowhere to be seen. She screamed and called for him for hours. They searched for him for days. They didn't find any shoes, anything, nothing. And people started to think the mom was crazy, saying that she came with her son. But they couldn't find not a trail of him. But her family came, looked every single day. The dad did confirm that she had a son named Jacob and that they did come to the trail that day. So after hearing that and getting the story and literally meeting Jacob, I came to the theory that sometimes when a person disappears, they're only gone from our sight. They're not gone from the place they were. And that at some point, the woods eat you whole, bones and all. As for Jacob, I wish we met under better circumstances. You seemed like a really nice kid. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was another story that we have for the books. I thank you guys for listening to my story. Again, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell button. And I hope to see you again. Bye.